Just wanted to thank everybody for joining today. Everybody who is on the fan experience webinar here today. Wanted to thank Jason for jumping on. Hopefully we get JD here in a minute or so, the other participant. Again, what we're going to be talking about today is improving game day operations and elevating fan experience with Hudl. For those of you who haven't seen me or met me before, my name is Josh Brown. I've been at Hudl for a little over 2 years now. Originally worked for a company called Blue Frame Technology in the streaming space and have become a part of the Hudl live streaming and now ticketing efforts as well, in just educating schools, districts, conferences, and more about how our ticketing and streaming and the whole Hudl fan experience works together. Before I introduce Jason, I'd first like to just give a quick plug. You heard me mention it. We have introduced Hudl ticketing into the fan experience now. So that's something where this fan engagement suite that we're talking about, the Hudl fan pages that we'll be showing you today, those do now incorporate ticketing if you're interested in getting started with it. We would love to talk with you more and show you how that plugs directly into those awesome fan pages that you have already. So just reach out to your sales rep or your Hudl rep that you know really well and ask them if they can get a little run through on ticketing. We'd be happy to do that for you. Well, that's going to roll right into that fan experience, that fan page, and our speakers here today. These schools have done an excellent job. And for right now, the one school on the call, and again, we hope JD jumps on, but Jason, we appreciate you being on. Harvard-Westlake's been a great example of a school who has promoted their fan page really well and has utilized some of the tools that we provide that are included in an athletic department package in helping them stream games. So without further ado, Jason, I wanted to introduce you. Jason is the athletic director for communications and student services at Harvard-Westlake. Before we kind of get rolling with the Hudl specific questions, Jason, give us a little idea about your background, how long you've been at Harvard-Westlake, and what you do on a day-to-day.
Thank you, Josh. Good morning, and a real pleasure to be here. As you might be able to tell, I have a little bit of an accent. I'm actually from England originally. Did my undergraduate degree in physical education in a city called Leeds in England. Immediately upon graduation, I emigrated to the United States with the hope of becoming an athletic coach or teacher in the United States. Was very fortunate to almost immediately stumble into athletic administration. So I was an athletic director at the age of 23 years old at a very large private elementary school in Los Angeles called the Stephen Weiss School, which is a private Jewish day school, about 45 teams when I started. I worked my way up through the system. The system also had a middle school and a high school. So eventually I became the K through 12 athletic administrator for 3 schools, 3 campuses. And when I moved into the high school level, I really started to get involved in the communications aspect as well. We were one of the very first schools in Southern California that I was aware of that began a live streaming program. We started very, very basically with a kind of remote camera that we could operate with a joystick from my office. Started to get a kid or two to start announcing games, and it was basically, live feed action with no graphics and a camera and a couple of announcers. And even as basic as it was absolutely incredibly well received by the community. I did about 18 years at the Stephen Weiss and Milken schools before becoming an athletic director at Harvard-Westlake School. So I actually took one step down administratively, but a really big step up in terms of the size of the school, the level of athletic competition, the state and national level of our athletes and our programs. And I came in as an athletic director for communications. So instead of being a K-12 administrator, I became much more targeted in terms of my role as an athletic director, oversee a number of programs, but really focused on communication. And so one of the ideas that helped me get my job was that I had some live stream experience at my previous school, and Harvard-Westlake was enormously interested in that. And I kind of said to them, hey, if we can do something like that on this kind of platform, on this kind of stage, I think we're going to have some really great success with your audience and your alumni and your parents. and our very first live stream had 5,000 viewers. And so that was pretty amazing. And so I think that the school really understood that there was an audience and a platform for something really special to start happening with live streaming and communications. And so HWTV was launched, and 11 years later, it's probably recognized as one of the very best student-run broadcasts in the United States. They've won multiple awards here for the student broadcasting that's happening here. And so we have evolved using livestream.com, and now we're kind of utilizing and streaming through the Hudl fan page. And so it's been an incredible journey of growth and learning, and we're just super proud of what we've done, but we're super happy to also have something as special as the fan page to be able to utilize a platform for our new broadcast.
So you said 11 years ago, the start of HWTV. What did that start look like then, and where are you at now? What's the progression looked like?
I think in any life and school, when you have an idea, if you have a supportive administration, they usually say, okay, we like the idea. What do you need? And can you prove yourself? And so every day we kind of have to prove that live streaming would be a really good thing, and it would be good for the school to invest. But school with good resources like ours isn't just going to open up the gates and create a whole television studio for you. They literally said to us, okay, well, what do you need? And we said we need to rent some equipment because there wasn't any equipment. So literally game by game, we were renting very basic cameras and a very simple TriCaster. We were renting microphones, and every game I would have to run down to an electronics store, rent the equipment, pick it up, deliver it to my tech specialist, who would put it all together and live stream the game. And then I would run back and take back the rented gear between games. So it was very difficult and very challenging and very basic to start off with some simple laptops and computers. But it's grown exponentially since then with the successes we've had with our broadcast. And so now we have large-scale TriCasters, multiple cameras on our fields and our gyms. Our graphics programs that we plug into our TriCasters allow us to have instant replay and player graphics and player images coming up when our announcers and our play-by-play and our color commentators are talking about kids. We also produce graphics for not only our school, but our opposing school if we can get rosters. So our kids are doing a lot of prep work for the broadcast and creating these graphics and getting them ready for the games. They're doing a lot of homework on our team and the opposing team so that they have good information for student broadcasting. And then the multiple camera angles, they're making us very similar to a very, very top in a Division I college program. As I said, with instant replays. We even have telestrators for football games, so we can kind of draw on the screen and do some really crazy stuff. So we understand that we've gone from a very basic level to something that's really, really quite impressive. But we've also learned along the way that you can do a really great job with live streaming even when you're starting out. You can live stream so well from your cell phone or your iPad, and you can put something out very special for your community. And then I think you'll probably have some questions about it, but the new software that you've showed us with Production Truck, which is much simpler than the big setup that we have, is allowing us to do some really special things on the road without having to take our entire production and TriCasters and all the carts that we have for our home games. You can still do something pretty special with the new software that you've come out with, Production Truck.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and that's something I'll ask a little bit later too. How do you envision that for a smaller school? Before that, how many students do you have involved in the pre-production for a game and during the live production?
So the way we attract students to help out with our student broadcasting program, we've actually moved HWTV from athletics to the HW media department. So it's now gone into kind of the broadcast journalism side of the school. We allow students who wish to participate in our program to get PE credit, and that has been a real way for us to attract students. So, we kind of have a revolving, say, 20 to 30 students per season who sign up for our many, different types of games. Some kids may be interested in basketball, soccer, football, whatever it might be. And so they kind of sign up for X number of games throughout the trimester, and that will give them their PE credit. But as they sign up, they get a little bit of preseason training on what we expect from them. And then prior to every game, we expect them to show up about an hour early. And we train them on the role for today, whether it be camera work, whether it be graphic work, whether it be, play-by-play or color commentary. We kind of do pre-season training and then pre-game training for every broadcast.
And I assume with this, and I know the answer to this, but for the audience, you all have that hands-on teacher from the journalism class who's giving them that kind of introduction and making sure they're trained up. And as I asked that, JD, thanks for jumping on. Can you hear us okay? And can we hear you okay? Oh, you're muted coming on, JD, FYI.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
There he is. Audio's working great. We were just asking some questions about student broadcasting and getting students involved. So your timing jumping on is perfect. Before you answer that question, Jason, JD, I'll have you go ahead and introduce yourself and your role with your school.
I'm JD Oliva. I'm a video production and graphic design teacher at DeKalb High School. I'm also the director of the BarbCast program here. And this is my second year as a teacher, and I spent 19 years working in film and video production. Before that, I'm also a wrestling coach at the high school.
Awesome. Thanks for hopping on with us, JD. I was just asking Jason about some student broadcasting programs. The way we'll do this now that we've got both of you on, I may ask one question, and if I feel like it's super relevant to both of you, I'll just ask for both of your opinions on it and kind of roll from one to the next, if that sounds good for both of you. So awesome. So for Jason, what we were talking about with student broadcasts is just, do you have a hands-on teacher who's doing that, training before the game and getting students prepared for the big production that you all do?
Yeah, I would love to say that I have the technical skills to be able to put out the broadcast. It sounds like I have somebody like JD with background. So we have a gentleman named Max Ash who has a background in film and television as well, and so he's my genius who puts all the wires together and is able to plug in the cameras, the audio, the graphics packages that we use into our TriCaster and our computers. And so I cannot take any claim for that as an athletic director. I just don't have that background and that training. So I'm blessed to have somebody with similar skills. It sounds like JD has. I'm the big picture guy. He's the guy who, makes everything tick and actually puts the production out to the community.
Yeah, and JD, give us an idea of your student production setup and what you're doing and your involvement there, kind of getting students ready for a game.
So we have two teachers here. We have two video production teachers, myself and my partner Jeremy Schultz. He was supposed to be here today, but we had a kind of a last minute faculty meeting that was kind of an all hands on deck thing. So I had to scramble to get down here. So it was kind of a disaster, but I was in school. So yeah, I teach video production, and so does he. So we kind of use that to kind of scout kids and to kind of get them enticed. And being in the athletic department here, most of my kids are involved in sports in some way, shape, or form. So we kind of coax them in that way. And then we've got a big borrowed and stolen half of our equipment that we have. We have a little switcher that we run in through the Hudl through the production truck, and then we kind of run the switcher as its own webcam. And then we're doing the switching, that way and running it through the webcam that way. So it's works out pretty good. So we just use that we're teaching as much as we can in the classroom. And then a lot of it is just, learning on the fly, and the kids just kind of figured out, throwing them in the deep end.
That's awesome. For those unaware participants in the call, you are probably aware of what production truck is, but for those who maybe haven't seen it and don't know if it's something you have access to, the production truck software is a software tool that you can download. Highly recommended on Mac as we move forward with it. The Mac version actually has instant replay, which is a great add-on for a student production. And if you've got Hudl cameras and you have a Hudl athletic department package, you have access to this software tool. And this is something that both of you have tapped into over the past year as well. So I just wanted to give that plug. And just for those in the audience who may not be aware, you very likely have access to this already, or maybe someone at your school has messed around and you weren't aware of it, but it's a really powerful tool. I guess that kind of gets into some more Hudl specific questions. What tools have you found helpful, both with the fan page and maybe with the production truck software and elsewhere, that Hudl has helped with?
I'll go first.
I don't.
I don't do much with fan page myself. Our AD and that staff kind of runs like the fan page. For production truck, we've had a lot of we this is our first year running it, right? This is our first year with our broadcast program, and every week we try to add something new to it. So one thing that we really enjoy is the use of the instant replay feature. We had to piecemeal stuff together as we went along, but when we figured that part of it out, I think it really turned up the level of our production, because we just don't we split our signal. We just don't output to Hudl and production truck. We also have big video boards in both our football stadium and in our main gym. So we're able to output those same things. So like we had a cool dunk, we're able to recall that and then put it on the board so the kids kind of go crazy watching those kind of things. So the instant replay was a big one. Like we are still figuring things out as you go along, because there's just so much in production truck that you can play with. But that's been the big one for us that I've enjoyed the most.
And for us, I would say we have such an amazing setup at our home venues where we're able to, spend time setting up and moving up. We have kind of portable trucks that we can move from gyms to the field and that kind of stuff. We don't have a lot of press box space in our school, unfortunately, so we kind of move a truck around with all of our gear in it. But it definitely did limit us to ever doing anything on the road. And so as the production truck software came in, it was so good in such a contained, on a laptop with a computer and a little switching board, that we were able to almost replicate the high quality stuff that we're doing at home on the road. And so it's really opened up a whole new avenue of being able to, broadcast our games to not only our community, but we're also sometimes we'll check in with the other school and ask them if they have a streaming program. And if they don't, then we'll offer to do it. So if we're on the road, we'll take, the laptop and a table with us and very, very basic setup. And we'll be able to put on a production truck live stream and send a link to both schools. And so not only our school, but also our opposing school community is getting to enjoy, really, really top level live streaming from what is such a much more basic setup than what our the really complicated home setup is. So it's been amazing to see how condensed the software has become, and to be able to add features such as instant replay from a laptop and a camera, which is just amazing.
Yep. And to stick on the streaming topic for a couple minutes before we move on to fan and maybe how your schools are promoting your games and maybe things you've done there. For schools in the audience that are thinking, man, it sounds like these setups are extensive and there's a lot of students involved. To get started with production truck, you can set it up, put it on the same network as the Hudl Focus, and then you can pull the Hudl Focus in and use that as your camera and start connecting maybe one commentator. It doesn't have to be multiple cameras and replay right at the start. This is a tool that you can scale out, and that kind of leads into the question. We'll start with JD on this one, and then Jason, if you've got some thoughts from your crew as well as you've developed this student broadcast program. For someone just getting started who wants to start involving students or maybe wants to start using the software and take it to that next level, where would you suggest that they start with things?
Well, so this is our first year going, so we really hit the ground running. Our first game was just 2 cameras, and then we were just trying to figure out what we had. What I do think you could do in production truck, that using the focus, is you can just use the focus as your main camera and then just bring in an audio feed, right? You can literally just plug into your laptop if you have some real basic audio equipment and just let the kids kind of go, right? So you don't, to get going, you don't need all the bells and whistles. Like, we're lucky that we had 2 guys with pretty extensive background in this, and I kind of inherited a lot of extra equipment. It's not good equipment, but we know enough how to kind of piecemeal stuff together and how to circumvent a lot of issues. But all you really need is that Hudl Focus, right? And then if you can bring in an audio with it, and you can just do that. I mean, you just have a Mac laptop, you can just plug right in. If you're lucky enough to have a board, you can bring it in that way. But realistically, you just need some software to bring it in, and you can have live commentary for your games. You could strip down to that. That's what I would suggest to someone who's just really looking forward to get started, because I don't have a big crew. We we got lucky that we got kids that wanted to get more involved when we started getting going. But that first game, we just had 3 cameras. We just had, luckily, because I begged, borrowed, like I was like begging kids, hey, why don't you come do this? Hey, why don't you come do this? So by week 9, we had like 10 kids. But I mean, you'll be surprised at how fast you're able to grow when the kids see what you're doing. And that's one thing that we've done is I let the kids take ownership of it. Well, they really wanted to take control of promoting the game. So 2 of the girls in my class, they started an Instagram account, and they know the language, the kid language, so they can get people looking and paying attention. And they're posting pictures all the time, and they post little bios of all the kids that are involved. So like, not only are you reaching out to the people who play the sports, but you're getting the kids who don't, and you're getting their parents involved by just people wanting to be a part of something. So that's what I would suggest is take what you have and then go from there. You'll be surprised at how fast it can grow. I didn't expect us to be nearly as far as where we are this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I wish we had production truck 11 years ago when we got going, because as I say, it was much more complicated to put out a stream back then than it is now. And so the technology has gone to such a level that when you look at a even just a basic production truck live stream, it looks as good as a lot of Division I college live streams. I'll be honest with you. I watch NCAA soccer games happening at UCLA down the road, which might have 1 camera and almost no graphics, maybe a commentator. But high schools are able to put out something that looks better than that, even just with a fairly basic production truck setup of a camera, a laptop, and maybe an audio board. So it doesn't have to be ultimately expensive. It doesn't have to be ultimately complicated. But the level of output now looks so professional. I'm just so impressed with how the technology has advanced to simplify the setup, but increase the quality of the output.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You all are really using that tool extremely well. I'm kind of interested now transitioning from the streaming side and some of the game day production, how you built your student program. How are you getting fans tuned in to what you're doing as far as both, hey, this is a student run operation, and hey, here's how you get to this live stream, this nice production that you're doing? What are some ways that you're promoting that? Maybe start with Jason on this one and JD after that.
Sounds similar to JD. Is social media is key for us to drive fan engagement. Prior to this academic year, I was a kind of a one-man show. I was lucky enough to be in a role which communications is my focus, and I know that that's not the case at many high schools in the United States, where there's an AD, maybe an athletic secretary, and those people have to put on so many hats to be able to do so many things. I'm very fortunate that I am able to focus on communications. So we have created a pretty robust social media platform. We use a company called Gipper to create game day graphics. And so we utilize the Gipper program to create our graphics. We link our live stream links or our even just using the logos for the fan page and giving the links in the fan page in our bios. And so we basically say, here's the game that's upcoming. Here's the link to the live stream. If you want to come and attend the game, here's the details. But if you want to watch the game online, here's the details too. So driving attendance both to games through social media, but also driving attendance of watching the game online. Social media has been key. So we started off with Twitter back in the day, which is now called X. We added Facebook along the way. And as students started moving away from those platforms into the next platform, Instagram became the key, right? This is where a lot of the kids and the parents are kind of hanging out now. TikTok is becoming the next generational way of communicating. So I knew that it was moving at a pace faster than I could handle. So I created a student athletic social media team this year. And I've had about a dozen students joining that team. And now I'm the conductor of that orchestra, and I let them, as JD said, they know the language much better than I do. I'm a 52-year-old man, so they know what to say, they know what to do. They're using the graphics much better than I did to be able to promote the game days and even live scoring and instant replays, as JD mentioned. You can put those up on social media as well. So I have now passed it on to people who know much more about this than I do, and that is high school students. And so, again, encouraging not only broadcast students, but I would also encourage ADs to think about having a social media team, because kids are just so interested in those areas that I think you'll get a lot of involvement, and they will help your fan engagement as well.
This is Jeremy Schultz. He's my partner in BarbCast, so he's able to join us. Yeah, like he was saying, we social media is absolutely huge. I teach a graphics class where a big part of what we do is working with Photoshop and Illustrator. So my kids are actually creating, like my higher level kids are actually creating the graphics that we utilize for that, and it's make it part of their grade. So it's something that they get they're all sports nuts. So I mean, it's something they get involved with, and like he was saying, we really utilize Instagram and Snapchat because that's where the kids are, and they're really good about getting the word out and spreading the message. What's really helped us too is the players will screenshot their own clips, their own highlights. We'll post that, and we'll go back and tag our social media accounts in there, so that helps spread the word about that. So we had a little dunk that kind of went semi-viral for us in our area, and that was a big way to help create some more awareness for us. And then, if you make it an event where the kids' parents who are involved want to get involved and they start spreading the word, it's just, utilizing the tools that you have at your disposal, specifically social media. Because I love the idea of creating an official social media team, and I have 2 kids that would love to spearhead that because they basically done it already. I just need to give them the official title of it, and they'll run the ball. They'll run with that ball for sure.
Yeah. What's that's kind of a interesting anecdote there at the end about the play that got a little publicity for you and some more eyeballs on it. What's the farthest reaching impactful play or social media clip from one of your games that you've seen? What kind of outlets did it get to for each of you?
Oh, I don't even remember. I just know the kids were telling me about that. So that's such and such account had retweeted or it shared it or something. And I just was, I'm 44. So I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't, they made a big deal out of it. So I couldn't tell you who it was. All I know is it got more people looking, it got more people talking about it, and it made my AD happy.
Awesome. Yeah, Jason, have you guys had anything go viral?
We again, we're very fortunate. We have excellent resources here at Harvard-Westlake. So we have media days for our teams pre-season. So we bring the team in. We have a photographer who also does video. And so they'll take some kind of promo shots in their jerseys, but they also do a little bit of video. So they'll kind of do some goofy stuff with video. And when we post our social media with the kids kind of video hyping it up and the game day information and the link to the live stream, we've actually had some of our social media posts go viral as well and have over 1 million plays. But we found that when we use video as our kind of graphics promotion for live streams and games, that it gets more engagement than just simply even a cool photograph. And so when you get any kind of video, the number of plays, especially if you add it becomes a reel with music, or it's a live action dunk or something like that, the use of video on social media to promote is just so much more, drives so much more engagement. So we've actually had 2 or 3 that are in the 1 million kind of plus plays in terms of hyping up a game. So you can imagine that then you're getting really good numbers on your live stream when you're getting a viral reel promoting a game.
Yep, that's great feedback from both of you on kind of those viral moments. I'm curious, as far as your Hudl fan pages go and getting viewers clued into where that is and how they go and watch the live streams themselves, and I'll do a screen share just to show both of your all's pages. How are you getting fans to this page so that they can watch your streams? Is that through social media? Is that a link on your website? What does that look like for each of you?
Well, our website's a disaster right now. So it's funny you should mention it, because we're called BarbCast. We have a website, but the guys who had it before us have it, and no one knows how to get a hold of it to change the extension. So it's like the fact that we've gotten this far is amazing, because like it's
been bubble gum.
Yeah, exactly. So we just promote. We put the link on everything. We just put the link on everything and just tag this, tag that. The link is in the bio. It's trying to get, every time we share a post up, boom, the link goes with it.
Well, we got the app as well.
The app helps too. Yeah.
So
I think there's a saying that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, and we have been complicated in the past in terms of where people find our information, whether it be our website. When we've been live streaming through livestream.com, we were able to simulcast to Facebook. We were able to simulcast to YouTube. And so when we kind of started off, we were live streaming all over the place. And while we thought that was cool, that people were able to come in and join our live stream in multiple locations, it really wasn't very simple because people didn't quite know where that stream was going to be streamed on that given day. What the fan page has done for us has actually refocused our thinking. Is let's stop sending it all over the world in every form of social media, and let's direct our audience and our community to one place, so they always know where to go to find our stream. And so we've kind of refocused ourselves by utilizing the fan page to say, let's just promote this one place where people can watch our stream. And because you can grab Hudl fan page not only on the web, but you can also access it as an app, which obviously the modern community really likes to do. We're really trying to focus our traffic all through the fan page now. And so whenever we're promoting a stream, we're not saying catch it on livestream.com, catch it on YouTube, catch it on Facebook. We're just saying go to fan page, because you're going to get the same quality stream, but it's one place. And so the more you train your community where to find your stuff, the higher your engagement, we believe, will be.
Yeah, and I'll show off these pages. You all have both done a good job of changing the banner image at the top so that it's something I can see baseball here for Harvard-Westlake, and then clearly the school here for DeKalb. And then you scroll down the page. If you're an audience member who hasn't seen this yet, your school has a page, whether you're utilizing it or not. There's some information from Hudl that is being plugged into this already. For schools like yourselves, the live streams are here. The highlights from previous games are also top of the fold. And then your schedule that your coaches are already entering in is also entered into this page. And we mentioned ticketing at the top. Again, if you're interested in learning more about Hudl ticketing, that's something that's new that we've started testing with this past year and had some schools using it at their events. But you'll see a little ticketing tab now on your Hudl fan pages. I do want to also ask about the poster image that you all are using. So this is something that can be customized and where you could potentially put sponsors. Have you all found that that's something you've thought more about using and maybe changing up for this next year? We'll start with JD on that.
We're locked in place is what we've got. My AD is kind of a machine when it comes to making these kind of deals. So I have no authority, no input, no thoughts on that subject. This is how it has to be, and I do not argue. Like I said, we have these big video boards in our gym. The sponsors run through that all the time too. Like this is he keeps the machine wheels running with doing that stuff, and it's a big help to be able to put the people to help keep us running, like our big supporters, our big boosters. It's really nice to keep them kind of top of mind when people visit the page, that they see them right away, because they're the ones that are really helping us get this done, financially speaking.
Jason, have you thought about revenue opportunities with that thumbnail image? And then we also have a pre-roll video that you can insert that DeKalb has used. Is that something that Harvard-Westlake has thought about for potential sponsorships?
For the people who don't know much about my school, it's actually a private school in Los Angeles, which has significant resources. So, I hope you kind of read into what I'm saying there. There's plenty of money here. So the alum advancement department doesn't actually have athletics doing fundraising for us. It's actually done through the advancement department. And but to this point, we've stayed away from advertising. But Josh, you and I have been in discussion about actually changing this from just a school-based fan page to a potential league-based fan base. And some very, very early discussions going on with athletic directors beginning this week about, how we're utilizing fan page and how potentially we could change that into more of a league-based page as well. And I think that the league is going to be exceptionally interested if we decide to adopt this as a league. I think there's going to be huge interest in the potential to generate revenue for all of our member schools. And so I think that would be much more utilized if we go into that concept, which is at the very, very early stages of discussion.
Yep, and as a plug from the Hudl end, we are exploring how to facilitate league-wide profile pages like the individual school pages we've shown you here today, where if we have a district or a conference as a whole who's interested in having their own page, we're going to start building those out and seeing what those look like for this coming fall. So if you're a part of a district where all of your schools are streaming or want to stream with us, or they all want to participate in ticketing, definitely contact Hudl and let us know. We'd love to add you to the list of districts, conferences, and associations that are looking for the same thing and that Hudl wants to be able to provide. So just a little plug there on our end.
Josh,
did notice...
I'd like to just add as well, Josh,
yeah.
that we have also had, up until just very recently, a branded graphic for a company that's just kind of gone out of business. And so we've been thinking about, what do we do? We've had this kind of additional app that was branded as HW, but it was powered by another company. And it basically had all your information from your website onto this branded app. And so, with it going out of business, we were like, what do we do? But I'm strongly considering not having to repurchase an app like that, because the Hudl fan page is offering a good deal of the services that I was paying extra for in terms of scheduling, ticketing, live streaming, messaging is something that, Josh, you've been talking about coming in. So it looks like Hudl may be able to satiate some of the things that we were paying a lot extra for with a completely separate company. And again, in terms of fan engagement, if you can drive your fans to one place rather than having a fan page here for live streaming and scheduling, but also going somewhere else for, some other aspect of your athletic communication on a private app. Again, it just simplified your community's life, being able to know to go to one place. So that's something we're really exploring, whether we need to do that or whether the Hudl fan page will be able to just satiate everything that we've done in the past.
One thing I kind of want to put onto that too is we come from completely different schools. Like we are a public school in a college town that I don't think I'm out of line when I say this, but the vast majority of our students are on free or reduced lunch, right? So the fact that we're able to have these type of level of things too, just with the stuff that we have and with the resources that Hudl provides, can show just how narrow the gap can get between, maybe you don't have a lot, but utilizing kind of what is provided to you and a little bit of ingenuity, which is kind of what we've had to do. You can kind of paint the perception of maybe your school is better than it is,
Yeah, I really like that point. And that actually, we've got a few more minutes. We might go, we were scheduled to go 40 minutes, so I don't want to go too far past that for your all's time and everybody in attendance. But there were a couple questions, and one of them kind of has to do with that. I think that gap where maybe there's not as much help from staff members even, or students who are involved in the broadcast. Patty put in a post that essentially says, hey, we don't have the teachers, we don't have the students, we're a really small school, and I would have to be doing this all on my own and setting this up for live stream. And I'll give you a little bit of an answer on this first, Patty, and then JD and Jason, if you've got some ideas too, I'll let you answer. I think, Patty, to start out with, if you have the Hudl Focus cameras streaming, they can go directly to that Hudl fan page we showed you. So you don't need to have the laptop immediately to stream games out. I would just encourage you, make sure your streams are sending from the camera through your Hudl scheduling system that you use to record games, and push them there. And I think that'll be a great way to at least get started, and then prove out to your community and your school, hey, we have this page with live streams, and then maybe that'll spark some interest from a student, or maybe one of your teachers wants to help contribute to that. So I know we've done a lot of looking at these bigger productions with what you all are doing, Jason and JD, but I think there's a route to even just get started with the cameras only on their own streaming. And if you guys have thoughts on that too, it would be great to get your feedback.
Absolutely. Like I said, we didn't have this last year. This is literally our first year up and going. We had zero students in August of this year. And I put together a little promo video of what could be done, of just footage that I shot and other stuff that I found around. And I put some bells and whistles because I can do that. Those are my skills. I can bait people in there, and I talk the kids from my classes into trying it, right? There is an opportunity. right? Kids want, here's the thing that I think that people don't understand. Kids want to be involved in something. They want things to do, especially in a small town. All you got to do is just hype. There's someone you can hype. You can create hype by just get people talking about it. If you get one kid, one right kid to help you out with these things, it can change things. But one of the biggest things that happened to us is we have commentary team. Our AD pushed for commentary, and both of us didn't think we'd be ready for it. Right. And then I thought, I have a kid in my class who's an athlete, who's really charismatic, who's funny. Everybody loves him. I said, hey, why don't you try this? And he's like, all right. Him and his best friend took this super seriously because they're sports guys. And all of a sudden they become like bigger stars in our school because of this. Right. There's an opportunity there. There is a kid there who wants to do something. And all you got to do is provide them an opportunity. And yeah, you got to babysit the laptop. That's literally what we do half the time is because of this, our kids can't set this stuff up without us.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're doing everything basically. But I mean, like, you can do it simple. You can do it with a laptop. You can do it just with your phone and making sure the stream works. Worst case scenario. We don't stream all our games with our big production setup. A lot of times they're just using the Hudl focus and they're going out there. Right. And that's perfectly fine. Like, so what you're talking about is what the vast majority of our basketball games look like, or our wrestling meets. Or, football we make a big deal about because it's football. But then we'll do once a week, we'll do a big BarbCast thing. And like, it can be done. So we had nothing last year and just kind of hit the ground running with it. Like if you're dedicated and you really want to do something and you can get just one kid passionate about doing it, he's going to find a buddy that wants to help. And they're going to find a friend who wants to help. And before you know it, you've got a team kind of like what Jason's got out there at Harvard-Westlake. I mean, that's kind of a model everybody I think should want to chase.
Yeah, if I can jump in.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So I think it was Patty's question or comment about, not having a lot of support. I would say, get used to just, understanding how the focus works and maybe how to override. And actually this ties in with some other question I saw earlier. How do we do commentary over top of the focus? Get that stage figured out, I think, on your own, using production truck. I know that the technical support pages recommend that whatever laptop is running production truck be on the same wired network as the focus. But we have found we can be on the other end of our building here at the school and we can pull in that focus and do commentary from a classroom. There's a 5-second delay or whatever on that focus, but who cares? You're not, if the kid is just commentating over top of a 5-second delay, there's zero difference. They just wait for the play. I would say figure out how to get that stuff going and how to be confident about that, because when you ask for help, you got to know what you're asking for help for, I guess, in a way. Like if you don't know, and we've run into this so many times where we think we're set. And then there's something on that list that we're like, oh no, we forgot X, right? And that's why it's nice to have a team, so we can kind of check each other's work, and when something falls down, we got each other's back, and our commentators are the same way. Coming into this, that was my number one advice for everybody is figure out every job, get 2 people on it, if you can. I know that's hard when you're starting with nothing, but if you can build a team of, break things down into smaller chunks and get 2 people, especially students, because somebody's always going to, have be late. Somebody's always going to be late. So you got to have somebody to cover. If you can do that, work towards it. And again, understand what you're asking for help for. You're going to have to do it on your own a few times, and you're going to, we've fallen on our faces a couple times, but you get better at it, and you make your list and your checklist to troubleshoot in the future, and you make it a little bit better the next time.
One thing I'll finish that up is whatever you add, whatever you start with is better than what you have. Right? If you have nothing, doing something is the step in the right direction.
I'm going to build on a few of those points. Is as great as some of the resources we have to be able to produce this incredible broadcast, there are games where we are broadcasting with the big setup in the gym. We've got a team over at the baseball field. but our lacrosse guy wants his game streamed, and all we have is the Hudl camera mounted to the wall. That's all we got. And our families still love, without any commentary or any graphics, they still love to be able to see the stream of their son or their daughter play their sport if they're unable to attend in person. And so with that Hudl camera, the Hudl focus camera going into the fan page, they have access to a live stream of their son or daughter's game, and they're so appreciated, even if it has no commentary and no graphics whatsoever. So just utilizing your whatever stream you can grab through the fan page is like Yadi said, it's better than nothing, and your community will really appreciate it. In terms of kids, again, just advertising that you're going to start this program, you will find kids come out of the woodwork. Even the most non-athletic kid are actually the ones who are chomping at the bit to get involved. We have some of our, self-titled worst athletes in the history of athletics who are stars of our broadcast programs because they love sport. They have no shot of making the varsity team, so their chance is to be involved in into the athletic program is via live streaming and broadcasting. And these are the kids who are playing the FIFA and the EA basketball, and they play computer games, and they have learned how to commentate to an incredible degree by playing these video games. And you can tell they play video games because of the language and the commentary and the excitement that they're putting in is almost mimicking some of the excitement that they've heard on their video games. And with zero training, some of our kids have blown my mind how good they are at announcing and commentating right off the bat with no training. And as I say, I think they learned it a lot by watching some sports, but also playing a lot of video games. The next thing is, as an athletic administrator, it may just be you. You may be a one-person team. You maybe have an athletic secretary. I've been there too. So where I am now is different to where I've been, and I understand. But your best friends are also in your journalism department because they're there somewhere on campus. So go make friends with your journalist teacher. Maybe you have a broadcast teacher. Maybe they have some newspaper kids. And, if you're looking for people who want to get involved, go talk to them as well. They're almost naturally inclined to wish to get involved with some kind of broadcasting because, as I kind of point out, the print newspaper world is a dying is a dying medium, and the world of video news and video broadcasting is what people consume these days. And so if you telling your journalist student, we're going to give you a platform to go live with something and do get some broadcasting experience, that's the future of what they can potentially do in college. So I think it's a win-win situation when you partner up with other departments in the school. You'll find your allies, you'll find your experts. So that my gentlemen colleagues here on the broadcast here have skills that I don't have, and every school has people with some of those skills if you can find them. And they are great supporters to athletic departments, and just make best friends. That's the best advice I can give.
Well, thanks so much, guys, for the answers on those. I'm going to do one more live question that I'll actually pitch to both of you. I think it's relevant for both of you. You can answer quickly, and then I know we're kind of past time here. I'll answer some questions in the chat as you all are answering that. We had one question come in and ask, do either of you charge for live streams? And I know the answer to this, but the audience does not. So I think it'd be good. Do you charge for live streams? If not, is it more about the marketing efforts and just getting exposure for those live streams?
JD, you guys can go first.
No, we don't charge.
It's my understanding that we did it first, and I think that paywall created a barrier to just our numbers in general. And I think they looked at the advertising revenue that we were getting, and they decided why make this an extra thing that people have to jump through. So I'm fairly certain that for the foreseeable future is gone for us.
Mm-hmm.
For now.
I mean, we don't want to, because we don't want to paywall anything. We don't want to roadblock anything. The idea is to build our program to get as much exposure for our kids as possible. And the best way to do it is just to kind of put it out there. And like I said, we're not revenue dependent, so we can do that. We are a public school, and it works for us.
with us being a fairly wealthy private school, we're not revenue dependent either on making money from our streams. Our answer is a little complicated, Josh, though, because what we used to find was we were live streaming our games, and our kids were so getting into live streaming games, and especially the big games on campus. So they love, live streaming the big games. But we have a state association, the NFHS, and I don't know, JD, if you guys have the same thing, but NFHS can actually hijack your live streams and say, you don't get to live stream today. The NFHS is contracted, and they bought the rights, and so they used to kick off our student team from the really big games and just come in and bring their own people in and live stream on the NFHS network, which is a paywall. And so our community would then have to go pay watch streams that they would normally get for free from us. So we actually had to do a deal with NFHS to stop them coming on our campus by saying that we will simulcast to them. We actually just give them our stream for free, which they make money on. But they allow us to stream all of our games, which we don't charge for. So the smart consumer will just watch it through us. But if somebody, because some of our games have national interest, there will be a number of people that are watching the game through their NFHS account, which they've already paid for or choose to pay for. So we kind of had to do a deal to kind of keep them off our campus and to allow us to continue to at least stream our broadcast for free while sending our stream to a paid subscriber service, if that makes a little bit of sense to anybody. But that's how we were able to make sure that we never lost the right for our students to broadcast their own games, and we were never kicked out of our own gym, because NFHS said that, hey, we're going to do this game instead of you guys.
Funny you mentioned that, because this last week our school hosted the state badminton championship, and our AD wanted our guys to kind of commandeer it. So we actually ran, because the NFHS, their stuff sucks. The pick slot's not good. So what we did is actually we ran through Hudl, and we sent our Hudl signal through production truck into the NFHS feed. So, quite frankly, no one in our community was going to pay to watch that, because we didn't have anyone in the state finals for badminton. So we weren't going to see that money anyway. But what we were able to do is we were able to essentially be contracted, to be a freelance team for the state finals for badminton. And we were able to use Hudl's production truck to put it through the NFHS. So it was actually kind of a way to cross some streams and get some stuff done. That's really interesting what you said. I'm going to keep that in mind, though.
Yeah, I think that's what we do too.
I just appreciate Hudl's system a lot more.
Absolutely.
I had never had to work with another system before, and that was a nightmare.
Yeah. So I think we do the same. We send it to Hudl, and then somehow we send the link to NFHS. But they're basically just tapping into the feed that we're sending out to our community through Hudl.
Yeah, and that's a great note from both of you. There is a way, if you have postseason requirements that you have to send the stream to another platform, there is a way to push either from the software or depending on the plan you have with us. I think it's kind of dependent on the package. There's something called syndication, where if you push a stream to our platform, you can then simultaneously push it to other endpoints, one of those being maybe a postseason streaming service that you have to push streams to. So there is a way to help facilitate, even if it's a different platform for postseason games. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. We're pretty close to time here. We'll look into any questions that weren't answered in the Q&A and make sure to reach out to those that have posed them. But just for the sake of time, I think I'm going to wrap it here. For all three of you, actually, thanks for jumping on and giving us some feedback on your all's setups, how you use the Hudl fan page, and all the answers to the questions. We really appreciate your all's time today.
No, I would love being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for on.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. Don't forget, tomorrow you can join us for day 2 of the fan engagement series. That's going to be tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time. If you want to hear a little bit more about fan engagement from someone else who's involved in student broadcasting and utilizing their Hudl fan page well. So thanks so much again, guys, and thanks for everybody for attending this. We will see you later.